Welcome to Talk a Good Game, and tonight is the preview for West Ham United against Liverpool. Sunderland have just been beat 1-0 by Liverpool 10 minutes ago or so, and I'm Gio from HammersChat.com. I've got Gonzo from HammersChat.com. Gonzo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm very, very well, thank you very much. Yourself?
I'm not too bad. Are you very excited about the guest?
I'm extremely excited. Can I introduce him? Am I allowed to introduce him?
You can do it tonight, since it's one of your heroes.
We've got with us tonight, we've got Kriss Akabusi, MBE, Lord Akabusi with us this evening.
MBE and Chris, you got the big OK, he's got my own name, he's from my manor, check him out.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. We've got another Chris with us tonight. So Chris, the usual Chris is going to be called Gonzo, so bear with us tonight. But anyway, let's get on and talk about Liverpool. They've just beat Sunderland 1-0. Wasn't a great performance in my opinion. Chris, what do you think of, well, before we talk about that, what do you think of Bilic so far, Chris?
Oh, I'm absolutely a super Slaven Bilic fan. He's revolutionised our game. I love the way we're playing under him. I love the way that he has got plan B. I like the way that he's forward thinking. He wants to go out and win games. I've really been enthralled watching West Ham, and it's the sort of stuff that we've been crying for, or so I've been crying for the last 3 or 4 years. And it's just a pleasure to watch. You know, I love where we are in the league. You know, I've been used to the lows as well as a couple of highs, like all of you guys. And it's just great to go to a game and know you're going to be entertained. We've got some flair players, and I just love Slaven Bilic. He's done a great job.
Yeah, I think it helped. Us three have all just watched Sunderland, Liverpool, and I think watching that game has helped us to do this show because it makes us even more enthusiastic about Bilic, I think. Gonzo, halfway through the season now, what's your opinion on the man at the helm for his first 5 months he's been here?
I think probably the first thing is he's infused to the club. I think he's connected. The first thing he had to do was connect with the fans. Allardyce never really connected with the fans. He's come in, even though he was only with us for a short period of time, he sort of understands West Ham fans. He talks about the academy, he talks about Bobby Moore, he talks about that sort of thing. Probably the biggest thing for me with him is, it's like Chris said about the exciting players. There have been times this season where we've had Payet, Lanzini and Zarate all in the same team, all dribbling and tricking and going. And I think, do you know what, he's gone a bit defensive when he didn't have the players. But do you know what, it's like I said in the previous podcasts, it's gained us the odd point here or there in a little run of games. And do you know what, I just can't wait to see those exciting players out on the pitch again. And I just think fair play to him for putting them all out at the same time.
Well, he's not the only new manager in the Premier League that we've seen. On Saturday, Jurgen Klopp comes to Upton Park for the first time. Chris, what's your opinion on Klopp and Liverpool so far?
I like Klopp. I think Klopp, like Bilic, is an honest manager. You know, what I've liked about Bilic is that when we lose, he calls it straight. You know, he doesn't try to hide through flowery language. And I think Klopp is the same. You know, an honest manager, an exciting manager. I don't think Liverpool were any better under him than they were with Brendan Rodgers. But, you know, he's had no different players. So give him a couple of seasons and let's see what he does. But I think he's a great addition to the Premier League. Definitely.
Gonzo, is this a poor Liverpool team? I was looking at a Liverpool team tonight, and even there are injured players. I've got a lot of players missing, but it's not a team. When I was little growing up, I got told Liverpool were one of the best teams in football. Looking at that squad, I'd say it's almost like a bit of an insult to the history that Liverpool have got. Gonzo, do you agree with that, or am I being a bit harsh?
Well, to be fair, they probably were when you were growing up. Hansen and Dalglish and people like that were sensational players. But I think the money from the Champions League's probably skewed it a little bit. So if you're not in the Champions League, you can't get those really top high-profile players. They're going to miss Sturridge, who's excellent. And Coutinho's off the boil. He seems off the boil. I hope he stays off the boil for the next game as well. They've lost Sterling, which was a big loss. I think they've lost Suarez, who was one of the best players I've ever seen, to be honest with you. And then they've lost Sterling as well, who showed real promise. And I don't think they've replaced them with the same quality. So, yeah, not quite as good as they might have been. But I think Klopp will do well in the future because he just hasn't got the players that he likes. In Dortmund, he had Royce, who was really quick, and I'm going to slaughter his name now. Oberagingman? Oberagingman? Is that what
I know what you mean, but I don't know how you say it.
You know, Patrick Oberagingman. Is that what he's called? I think
I
so.
think so.
Fast. They're both fast, him and Royce. So I think once he gets fast players in at Liverpool, he'll do a better job.
I'll tell you what. One of the things that I was happy with is that Liverpool hadn't scored away from Anfield for 4 hours, and I was just thinking, if they don't score tonight, you know what's going to happen. We know we have a very good habit of helping people break their ducks and break their runs.
That's the West Ham way, Chris.
Eh?
That's the West Ham way.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that they scored, because if they don't score on Saturday, well, hey ho, you're happy days.
But Chris, do you not think I think Bilic is ironing those myths out a wee bit now. We've said this about, we went to Swansea and everybody said, oh, it's just typical West Ham, they'll finally get their win against us. We went to Villa, everyone said, oh, it's West Ham way that Villa are finally going to get a win against us. But Chris, do you not think Bilic is starting to iron these out and just say, well, hang on, no, this is the old West Ham way, there's a new West Ham way, and I Slaven Bilic, so I'm going to implement that?
I want to say yeah, but taking into account, no Payet, no Lanzini, no Sacco, no Moses, and the list goes on. It was the same old West Ham going into December. So happy that we won at the weekend. Of course, I was there, but I was just thinking, no, here we go again. It's in the late. I'm born November 28th. Here comes. It's my birthday, and we're going to go on a losing streak. I mean, again, think about something. Just think about Allardyce. I mean, what an awful year he's had. 2015. I mean, an absolute gopping, absolute awful year. And I was just thinking, oh, here it comes again. We're not going to get back on track again until February. But yeah, hoping you're right. You know what, Gio? I'm hoping you're right. All those myths are gone, and Liverpool will come down at the weekend, and we're going to get our first 6-pointer. Come on!
Well, I certainly hope so anyway. Gonzo, is there any world-class players on that Liverpool team? Any one of them players world-class?
I think Sturridge is when he's. If he's going to be in the team, and I think Coutinho, who I mentioned earlier. I think. No, I think they should have him. I'm struggling. You put me on the spot there. How dare you?
Firmino, look. Firmino was a bit off today, but Firmino is class. Coutinho is class. I tell you, somebody else. Jordan Ibe came on for the last 15 minutes. He's going to be a quality player. Klein, their right back, I'd love to have him. We've got problems at the right back. I would love to have Klein come to our manor. So yeah, they got 3 or 4, if not world, I mean, got to be careful with the world class, because what do we really mean? But top players, great players. Yeah, they got 3 or 4.
Yeah, but Chris, would any of them? You mentioned Klein. I'll give you that one. But and maybe Coutinho. But would anyone else get into West Ham starting 11?
Sturridge,
if everybody was fit.
Sturridge, yeah, definitely. Sturridge.
But apart from him.
So Sturridge, Coutinho, and Klein, definitely. All 3 of those would get. I mean, they're getting to our side. Coutinho, of course, I wouldn't be ahead of Payet. It wouldn't be ahead of Lanzini. But that is, I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm saying that because Coutinho is quality, and yeah, I'd have him definitely, and we could have done with him when Lanzini and Payet was out. So out of the 3, Sturridge, Klein, and Coutinho, I can't believe I'm saying this, but forget Coutinho because the other 2 we need.
Yeah, Gonzo, is there anyone else you'd add to that list? I think it's unreal that we're talking about West Ham, Liverpool, and Chris has managed to list 3 players that would get into our starting team. Have you got anyone else, Gonzo?
No, but Chris is right about the right back, and it is crazy to think that actually we're sat here. You've asked a really good question, it's an excellent question, but to think that only 2 people out of the Liverpool squad might make it into the West Ham team sounds ludicrous. But yes, Klein, as Chris says, we've got problems at right back. So Klein, are their centre backs any better than Reed or Tompkins or Collins is playing at the moment? You'd have to say no. And Lanzini, do you know what? He might get Coutinho. He might get a place in the squad. I'll tell you what would happen though. Bilic is brave enough that he would play a midfield of Coutinho, Payet, Lanzini, and Zarate. He wouldn't care. Let him have it.
That would be tremendous.
The only other player I would add to that is Omri Chan. I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's an absolute baller in the centre of the park. I actually think that's what we miss, a cool head that can just take the ball and just play the simple game. Sometimes I think that's what we're lacking at West Ham. It's been a while since we've dominated a game in midfield, and I think he would give us that domination in the centre of the park. But anyway, while you're here, guys, hit the subscribe button. Our social media, facebook.com/HammersChat, and Twitter @Hammers_chat. And I don't often say this, but do comment below. Give us your score predictions or whatever you think will happen. I'll keep an eye out. But let's talk about our team. Let's talk about West Ham United. Chris, the good news, Payet's going to be on the bench. Valencia, Jelovic, if you care, and Creswell are going to be getting scans, but it looks like they're all going to make it. James Collins is fine despite getting a knock against Southampton, so the only one we're missing, Sacco. Reed and Moses are touch and go. They're back in training this week. Chris, is this where we're going to see, apart from Sacco, we're going to see the real West Ham now that the players are coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw the real West Ham in the beginning of the season when we won all those games earlier on. I'll tell you what's been a real revelation for us, and it's only going to get better. I know he's been slaughtered a little bit, but Antonio, Valencia, I'm not impressed with Valencia. His record isn't that great. He started off very well when he first came here, but it's not been that great. But Antonio, I've been watching him, and I'll tell you, I've got a funny feeling that guy in the back end of this season is going to really come good for us, and he will probably become our third or fourth highest goal scorer. Payet will probably get sort of 9-10 goals. Lanzini maybe 8. I think that Antonio will have another half dozen goals by the end of the season. Andy Carroll, not a goal scorer. What I liked about Andy Carroll at the weekend is a great impact player. So, yeah, Carroll off the bench to make an impact. I think, with Payet back, I think Antonio up front, running the channels, doing what Saka used to do. Happy days for us coming forward in the last 19 games.
Gonzo, would you agree with that? What would you do up front? Because I've got a different opinion to Chris about Carroll, and I'll get my opinion out in a second. But Gonzo, what do you think about what do you do up front on Saturday?
I don't know. You know my opinion on Carroll is that he should come off the bench like Chris, and you also know that, I mean, we don't need to regurgitate the past 20 weeks of me saying I don't think Valencia is the answer up front, but he's going to have to do it as long as he doesn't play Jelovic up there. That's all I'm really concerned about. I'll tell you what will happen though, and this is going to be a big factor. Liverpool have been up to Sunderland. They've got to travel all the way down to London on Saturday. It's going to be January sales traffic. It's the early kickoff. And if Payet is named on that bench, I've got to thank Avit. He's got me a ticket for Saturday, so thank you, mate. I'm going to go down there, and I'll tell you what, if Payet's named on that bench, the crowd are going to be singing, "We've got Payet, Dimitri Payet." I reckon the crowd will be absolutely buzzing, and I just think there'll probably be more of an atmosphere than there's ever been. And I just think whatever he does, there's going to be such momentum that it's going to, really carry us forward. So maybe he'll stick Zarate up there. I don't think he'll start with Payet. Maybe he starts with Lanzini. I think he will start with Carroll, but I personally wouldn't.
Personally, I think we should. I get people saying he's a good impact player off the bench, but why can't he be an impact player from the word go? Why do we have to wait till Andy Carroll comes off the bench before we change our style to suit him? Why can't we play that from the word go? And that's what I don't understand. I get the point that he came off the bench on Saturday and we got the ball in, but why can't we do that from the word go? Chris, why can't we do that from the start?
You need to look at the stats, though. I mean, he's just not a prolific goal scorer. I mean, I don't know what else a striker is supposed to do. People tell me about holding up the ball, about causing havoc. A striker's supposed to score. I think he's played something like 150 games and scored like 35 goals in his career. The last 2 seasons, he's scored 5 goals a season. At the moment, he's played 12 games. He's on 2 goals. Put it this way. Jenkinson has got more goals than no, they're the same now. 2 goals each. Jenkinson has got 2 goals. Carroll's got 2 goals. You've got Payet on 5, Lanzini on 5, you've got Zarate on 5. I mean, at some stage, you've got to say, he's not your main man. Look, I like him. He's got endeavour. He's a big, strong boy. I too think that actually he's got to grow up and he's got to stop thinking I'm a young striker and I'm going to come good. You're 26. You've got to be good. You're 35 million quid. You've got to be good. Or even 70 million quid. You've got to be good. And as a striker, you've got to be doing 15, 20 goals a season. I know you've been injured and stuff, but you've got to do more than 5 goals. I mean, when Nolan was here, Nolan scored more goals than Carroll. At some stage, you've got to look at the facts and say, I don't know what you are, fella, but you're not a striker or not a striker on form. Just think, imagine if Carroll was a Lukaku, was a Vardy, was, you know, a Kane. You know, where would we be now? You know, he's had his chances. I'm not going to write him off, but at the moment, what I see, impact player at best. I'm sorry, Andy Carroll, if you listen to this podcast.
No, you're not alone in that voice anyway. You've backed your reasons up perfectly. It's fantastic. But Chris, what I would argue with that is Sacco wasn't finding the net at the start of the season, but yet everybody was saying Sacco's our main man. We need Sacco back. And I'm a fan of Sacco because he does a lot of work off the ball, and it's because of Sacco that probably Payet's got so much goals in that. But Sacco doesn't necessarily score. So in your opinion, does that mean that come the summer, our number one priority has to be to get a proper goal scorer in?
I definitely think so. I mean, Sacco's got 3 goals. So he's not a goal scorer, been injured half the season, but he's got 3 goals. One more already than Andy Carroll. But definitely, just imagine, for example, a player I'd love to see at our place is played for football, Demba Ba. Demba Ba with Sacco and Lanzini. I mean, that fellow will be on 15 goals already. I mean, he'd be right up there. I mean, I love Demba Ba. He didn't even have service, and he scored like 10 goals for us.
Yeah, love it, Chris. I love it. But Gonzo, one position I want to talk about is our centre of the park. We started with Noble, Kayati and Song. It didn't work. Okay, the midfield was shocking against Southampton in the first half. Bilic removed Song. We played a lot better in the second half. So what does Bilic do on Saturday? Does he keep Song out and keep Noble and Kayati in the middle? Does he go back to his 3 and hope that it works this time? What do you do with your Bilic, Gonzo?
Well, Song is a quality and a class player. I always say this: you don't play for Barcelona and Arsenal if you can't pass the ball and play well. He's coming back from long injury. You've got to give him time to get back to fitness. The only way he's going to get that is by playing on the pitch. You know me, I'd play 2. If there were 2 Kiatis, I'd play 2 Kiatis. There's not. Kiati plays every game for me because he's such a good athlete. I'd play Song in there. I think Noble plays. I think your problem comes when Payet's fit, because I think when Payet's fit, then one of those 3 midfield slots goes to Payet. But that won't be tomorrow. You'll see. I'm pretty sure Song, Noble and Kayati in the middle tomorrow.
So here's a little bit of sacrilege now. Here's a little bit of sacrilege. And I can't believe I'm saying this. So you got to excuse me, fellas. But you know the problem. The problem is this. We've got a guy who comes from Canning Town. He's West Ham through and through. He's done 10 years. And his name's always on the score sheet. He's our captain. But actually, he's playing in Song's position. So I'm with you. Listen, you don't play for Barcelona and Arsenal and not be good. Song is good, but we got to try to accommodate Noble. And when we put Noble, he's not the best at. So me personally, it's like, remember when we had in England, when we had Gerrard and Lampard, and we kept on playing both of them. When really what we should have done is had one of them play for 60 minutes, another one for 30 minutes. That's West Ham right now. Right now, Song and Noble, same position. I mean, we had Song playing at the top of the diamond. No! This is again sacrilege because I love Bilic, but no! Noble, defensive midfielder, and he's the second best to Alex Song. Simples.
Yeah, I agree with that. But before Southampton game, I wanted Noble dropped. Actually, I didn't have him in my starting 11. But I thought Noble was one of the best players on the park in the second half against Southampton. Yeah. And for me, he keeps his shirt until he has another poor performance. Keeps his shirt. And I would start with Song on the bench because I just thought his attitude was a bit off on Saturday. Same as Zarate. I would not have Zarate anywhere near that starting 11 after just the effort against Southampton. It almost looked like he couldn't be arsed playing for us. But anyway, that's my midfield. You've heard Gonzo's. Chris, who would you start in midfield then? Do you start with just 2? Obviously, you're going to pick Song over Noble. Or do you start with all 3?
Hold on. It was Akabusi. No. Listen, let's get this right. Akabusi has come on our show, right? He wants to drop Noble. He thinks Andy Carroll's rubbish, and he thinks Coutinho's not good enough for West Ham. I'm not saying nothing.
No, I'm not dropping Noble because I think you make a good point. Look, he is West Ham through and through, and what you said about Southampton in the second half. I mean, you don't remember this, but this guy was blood, sweat, and tears, and it was like 10 minutes to go, and Noble took a punch on the nose just to get the ball out of play. I can't, just in the last 5 minutes of the game, it was just fantastic. So, no, I know why we have Noble. All I'm saying is that Song is a better player than Noble. But I'm not saying drop Mr. Noble because he is West Ham. And I like what the directors are doing. They're saying you've got to have West Ham in our DNA. You've got to have Tompkins. You've got to have Noble because they're West Ham, and you need that East End culture. That never say die. That look at Tompkins. He got mashed up against Villa. He comes back out again. That ain't happened to a foreigner. I'm sorry.
No, I quite agree with that. That's bang on. That's just a really good example. No one's really picked up on that. Time to put pressure on these guys before we get off your screen. Gonzo, are you confident, and what's your score prediction?
I am confident because of the journey. As I said, I don't think they looked anything special, Liverpool. We watched them tonight. I think we're going to win it. I think I said on the forum earlier, I think we're going to win it 1-0, and I think Lanzini's going to score the winner.
Chris, same question to you. Are you confident, and what's your score prediction?
Oh, God. I'm not confident. I'm not, but I'm going out there. 2-1. Payet to score the winner. Get in!
I think that would be dreamlike. I think Upton Park's roof will come off if that happens. I'm actually really confident. I was confident before tonight, and after watching tonight, I'm even more confident. Liverpool did not impress me at all. They were sloppy. They panicked every time the long ball came in the box. Now, I'm not saying we're going to play the long ball, but we've got Andy Carroll in the box, who's a lot better than your main Defoe in the box, and if he can cause trouble with high balls, I'm pretty sure Andy Carroll will come. I'm going to say we smashed them. I'm going to go 3-1. I think it's going to be quite comfortable, actually. We are going to click at some point this season. Everything's just going to go like that for Bilic. And the fans are buzzing, the players are buzzing, Payet's back. I just think it could be Saturday that everything just clicks, and that with thump a team, it's going to happen at some point. Gonzo, thanks for popping on.
Now, listen, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to go and put some Lycra on now. I'm going to grab Mrs. Gonzo's rolling pin from the kitchen. I'm going to run around the block. I'll probably get arrested, Lycra with a rolling pin. I'm going to pretend it's Tokyo 1991 because I'm so infused by Chris's enthusiasm. And do you know what? We're going to win 5-0.
Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and listening to you. Hopefully the viewers feel the same. I'm sure they would. Gonzo's been sitting there in delight watching you. But Chris, thank you so much for giving up your time and popping on.
It's been fantastic. Yeah, Gonzo, you've been brilliant. Good luck with your podcast. Hope it goes from strength to strength. It's fantastic. Good job. Hammers chat all the way, baby.
Thank you very much. You didn't get paid for that either. But I've been Gio. That's been Chris. That's been Gonzo. Come on to hammerschat.com. Good night.